you doing, Mets fans, whoever you're a fan of? I know we're going to have plenty Braves fans in the show, too. It's your boy, Wardy, and we're coming at you with the latest Metropolitan pregame segment as it's officially rivalry weekend, folks. The Mets and the Braves are about to kick off a three-game homestand here for the Mets at Citi Field against the Big Bad Braves as Atlanta continues their winning ways, or at least hopes to, after winning their past two-game series against the Boston Red Sox. The Mets, of course, have been on the better front as of late, back to a 500 ball club. A very exciting weekend of play where I will be in attendance for this Saturday's game with Christian Scott making his highly anticipated Mets Citi Field debut. The rookie right-hander on the bump tomorrow in Game 2 of the series, but tonight we're breaking down Game 1, everything that you need to know from the Mets side of things, from the Braves side of things, taking a look at both these lineups as I have presented to you here. We're going to get into how you guys feel about tonight's lineup, and the simple response to that is, if you're a Mets fan, give me a yay or a nay in the live chat here watching on YouTube, or for my replay viewers that watch us after the fact, and comment down below before tonight's kickoff, which begins around 7:10 p.m. Eastern time. From there, we're also going to take a look at my parlay of the day, folks. I'm not going to brag, and I'm not just saying this with our amazing sponsor, BetUS. I've been on an absolute heater lately in both basketball and baseball land. I'm very excited to get into tonight's parlay for my respective sports bettors out there that would like to tail all my picks, maybe just one of my picks or none. That's fine too, but we'll get into my picks of the day as well with the MLB slate, along with NBA playoff action, and then of course breaking down more on the key takeaways with both sides here, what I like for the Mets, what I like for the Braves, what I don't like for the Mets, maybe what I don't like for the Braves. How does Jose Quintana match up against Charlie Morton tonight, as both pitchers have faced these respective ball clubs already this season, both of which didn't have the strongest start. Can we expect better or worse this time around? All that and then some is what we'll be breaking down in tonight's pregame show, of course. But thank you all so much, everyone, for chiming in live and on replay here. Appreciate everybody with the interaction as well. Continue to let me know your thoughts on not only the Mets, on the Braves, or whoever you're a fan of as your first chime in. I need my hometown Atlanta Braves offense to bring the bats down. I do not need that at all, Donta, as a Mets fan. I truly hope that does not happen whatsoever, respectfully. But I appreciate you being in here. Lisa, how you doing? Kevin, Dominic, great member, longtime member here. Mike, Mama Worm, how you doing? Carla, Elikes, Ricky, Dominic, great member, as I mentioned. Ryan, Tim Welch, great member too. Hector, happy to have you all watching in here on the YouTube platform. Not going live on Twitter for pregame today. May for postgame, not sure yet. The only issue that I've noticed, just for people that are curious, I've been going live on both YouTube and Twitter a lot this year because I'm really trying to build the Twitter platform up as well as just another way for us to grow and build the community. But one thing I have noticed is that for whatever reason, and my software doesn't allow me to set up the stream in advance on YouTube, where you YouTube viewers can know, a couple hours in advance or still ahead of time for when I'm going live, and before it's abruptly saying I'm going live. For whatever reason, it doesn't align the way I want it to, so I'm going to be toying on and off with being live and not live on Twitter, but I will be live on YouTube every single time we do our post-game coverage. So post-game, big show tonight as we're about to get into, but before we talk about what transpires in tonight's ball game, let's talk about how do we get here, how are these teams matching up against each other. I got my man Luis from Puerto Rico in here. Thank you so much, my man. Ain't nobody see nobody. Happy to have you in here. Morales as well. Daniel, how you doing, brother? Again, I've seen a lot of yays in here. Now, I got to agree with you, everybody. For what the Mets can currently offer, I honestly don't think I could have picked much of a better lineup. I think the only true arguments that you can make tonight is, okay, why is DJ Stewart not getting a start? But JD Martinez, we want to see him getting reps against the Braves, of course, against the Charlie Morton, where he does have history against. But most importantly, you want to make sure that you can have the proper depth throughout the entirety of a 9-inning ball game. The Mets are going to have some key weapons available for them off the bench that I promise you they will tap into later on the ball game, more than likely, as long as it's not a complete blowout. And even then, you could justify it then saying, okay, we might as well bring in some different guys because we're winning by so much. Not foreseeing that to happen whatsoever, but with DJ Stewart and Tyrone Taylor, Omar Narvaez, you got two lefty bats on the bench there. One is much better than the other. The one righty bat, and Tyrone Taylor as well has had success against the Braves earlier this season, we've already seen. So excited to get into that. Yoshima, thank you for the $2 holla. I appreciate that. Yoshima in the chat says, why do I feel like Olsen's going to wake up this week? He, of course, will. Matt Olson is an absolutely deadly lethal hitter. He has had a tremendous amount of success against the Mets. I fully expect that to continue in this matchup, unfortunately, against the Mets at home at Citi Field. And what's a rainy, gloomy weekend? Of course it is. God forbid we could get some nice baseball at Citi Field for more than just a couple days, it feels like, for the majority of the season. Even during the summer, it's thunderstorms left and right. It's never how you really want it to be. And I will be in attendance tomorrow for what's likely going to be a windy, cold, gloomy game, but hopefully they can secure the victory, and hopefully by that point, a series dub. But yes, Sip, to your point, 2 days rest of the pen should be good. It should be great, 100%. Yes, as we know, there have been positive updates for people unaware. Kodai Senga threw a bullpen today. Things are all trending in the right direction. It looks like he is either one more bullpen away from beginning his rehab assignment, or he will officially begin his rehab assignment his next time out there. Either way, things are continuing to trend upward for Kodai Senga, the Mets ace, who can return to this rotation as soon as May 27th off the 60-day IL. Same thing with southpaw David Pearson, who's been ramping up and looking sharp there in the minor league rehab stints. He can return by the end of the month. Tyler McGill is basically imminent as to when he will return. He's done everything. He will get one more start there in rehab, I believe, this weekend, and then from there, the Mets will evaluate. They want to keep him there in AAA, call him up for either a starting spot, a bullpen spot, what have you, but a lot of positives trending the right direction, including Brooks Raley, who's still ramping back from his elbow inflammation. Unfortunately, was behind farther back than what we initially thought he would be, but thankfully, as of right now, we're not looking at any season-ending injuries, knocking on wood. As long as that inflammation slowly but surely goes down, he ramps up when it is deemed worthy. Thankfully, the Mets have a bullpen construction at the moment, led by David Stearns, that has been oh so fantastic that even though we've lost Brooks Raley and Drew Smith over the past couple weeks, how many of us are really complaining about it at the moment? Very few, and for obvious reasons, because of how nails the pen has been night in and night out. And even if they get exposed here against a very good Atlanta Braves team, 10 games above 500 right now, one of the best offenses in baseball went right, you still have to be very happy with what you've gotten from this team's pen so far this season. I hope it doesn't get postponed. I hope so too, Robert, but we'll see. I know that we have some rain on the forecast starting, around 7 today. I do believe, last time I checked the weather, and I will check again in a second, I do believe that as things currently stand, the weather is supposed to line up after 7 p.m. today there in Flushing, Queens. Also, guys, if you hear any ruckus in the background, like some little annoyances, I have an adorable cat around me at the moment that is a sweetheart, but she does a great job on making some noise, especially when they have like those scratchy thingies that they can just kind of claw at and make noise with. It's just like one of the things she likes to play with and lay on. So apologies in advance if you hear some slight nonsense that isn't me just spewing my normal nonsense here during our pregame show. I'm looking like you at the Gmaz house. No, not at the Gmaz house. No, but you will be seeing me more in this location more often than not for the foreseeable future. B Money, you got to watch Quintana now. Sadly, we do have to watch Quintana tonight, and that's a big matchup. And Jose Quintana, who again 2 starts ago gave the Mets 8 innings of 1 earned run ball, last start gave the Mets 2.2 innings of 8 earned run ball. So Jekyll and Hyde step right up and meet, yes, Jose Quintana. What are we going to get from him tonight against the veteran Charlie Morton? Big question that we're going to break down here in a minute as I'm going to go through the lineups, go through the pitching matchups, how they fared so far against each other, earlier this season, and ultimately against these teams throughout their career for the most part. And then we'll take a look, of course, at our picks in the parlay. But as I take a quick glance here at the weather for Flushing, Queens, again, as of right now, things are looking as follows. You got a 85% chance of rain at 6 p.m., nothing showing at 7, 8, 9, 10, and then on. So things are looking good right now, folks. I'm not fronting. If you go on your phone, look up Flushing, Queens, the weather's looking okay. I think at absolute most we might get a rain delay. Let's see. Not the usual. I do not reside there, John. I do reside somewhat in that area, or at least I did, but no longer, funny enough. And no, not Hope. That's hilarious that you say that. I'm not far from there. But no, especially if you just look at my P.O. box. That's literally how you guys can get a clue. Not terribly far from that. But I have switched places since then. I hope you're doing well, John. Happy to have you in here. Where did you see me? John, I think I saw your comment not long ago saying that you saw me in the area. Where do you see me? I'm out of curiosity. Was it, out of Wawa or something? What was it? Eric, what are we talking about here, Eric? What am I missing, Eric? Where are the ass grabbers at? Eric, it's 5:17 p.m. on a Friday. What is going on? Yay for Cat. They are good luck. I hope so, Carl. We'll see about that one. What's good, Subaru? Happy to have you in here. Bring your coat. Yes, I'm bundling up for tomorrow for sure. I will wear this Mets hat. I don't know when I'm going to wear full fit yet, but I will be in section 16 tomorrow, guys, behind home plate. You won't see me on the broadcast, but I'll be in the Clover Club, and I'll be roaming around plenty. Have some people that I'm excited to meet up with, and also you amazing Mets fans. If you guys find your short schmuck boy, that is me, at the game tomorrow, please stop me and say what's up. Maybe talk a little shit, if I've said something that's bothered you in the past. Honestly, not opposed to it whatsoever. Just always happy to talk shop with my fellow Mets fans, whatever the interaction may be. Wardy is in witness protection. Yep, you got that right, JTB. Who says no, right? All right, everybody, let's break down what you need to know from both sides in this matchup tonight, shall we? What does Buck think of this lineup? I'm sure he's happy that Daniel Vogelback isn't a part of it, the way that Billy Epler surely wanted it to be. Okay, we start with the Atlanta Braves, 21-12 on the season for Atlanta. Coming off of a 2-game sweep, they're at home against the Red Sox. I will preface that the Atlanta Braves have not won a road series in a minute now. They've lost their last 2. They got swept in LA just over this past week. And a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, they lost 2 out of 3 in Seattle against the Mariners. Yes, those are different teams of the Mets, but the point still stands. They have yet to find a rhythm on the road so far this season as well. And I'm not here to talk about rhythm because this is a Mets team that's 500 this season. And consistency, step right up and meet the effing Mets, baby. But the point is that the Braves and their fans will agree they're not playing fully to the caliber that they would like so far this season. Ronald Acuna Jr. with a 720 OPS. That is not Acuna that we know. And I promise you guys, what's going to probably kick the Mets' ass more than anything else this series will not only be potentially Jose Quintana getting absolutely labored if he does not perform well tonight, but it's the running. It is the stolen bases. It is the walks. The same thing that killed the Mets in the Tampa Bay Rays series is going to come back to bite them in this one. And they are not very wary about Ronald Acuna Jr., Michael Harris II, and all the other weapons they have there on the bags, even Orlando Arcia and then some, for the Atlanta Braves. That's my big concern this matchup for the Mets here. When you got a guy like Acuna leading off, Ozzy Albies has strong speed too. You have a lot of weapons and depth in their lineup where they can hurt you early and often with the bloop and a blast, making a walk into a triple because you're Ronald Acuna Jr. and you steal a bag and Tomas Nino does not get the throw there. Maybe it goes over McNeil's head, God forbid, and then he gets to third. I see it now. So Acuna with a 720 OPS, I have a big eye on him this series. Ozzy Albies, of course, has done great against the Mets. How many times? 786 OPS on the season for one of the best second basemen in Major League Baseball. Same thing when it comes to third base. I mean, look, pretty much every position the Braves have, an all-star caliber player at for the most part. Matt Olson, Austin Riley, who kills the Mets too, the best third baseman in the league, not named Jose Ramirez, 710 OPS with 710 OPS for the third baseman. Matt Olson, 665 OPS somehow for the first baseman. That's not going to last, and all it takes is a series against a rival, the Mets, to really get you going. Marcell Ozuna, that absolutely no one loves outside of Atlanta, and over 1,000 OPS for the slugger, who's hitting over 300, 12 home runs. Marcell Ozuna is right off where he left off last season with a 40 home run, 100 RBI campaign. Nothing's slowing him down right now. And even though that, yes, he is Ozuna from the Braves, this is unfortunately something that he is getting away with, and that is the home run pace, which is absolutely fantastic right now. Not ideal for our Metsies, which of course have had plenty of problems with Marcell Ozuna during his time in Miami, short stint in St. Louis, and then, of course, most recently over the past 4 or 5 years in Atlanta. Michael Harris II is batting 7th with 672 OPS, but before we get there, Adam Duvall, 678 OPS. Duvall, of course, can play all outfield positions, fantastic glove, and big bat in that lineup. Swings and misses at a strong clip, but when he makes contact, that ball goes far. So Adam Duvall is always a threat. Travis d'Arnaud, who I fully anticipate to kill the Mets in this series in particular. d'Arnaud with an 882 OPS for the catcher. He's been killing the Mets plenty since he has left Queens when Brodie Van Wagenen just cut him, and then he signed with the Dodgers for a cup of coffee, then ultimately found his way after, I think, a stint there in Tampa with the Atlanta Braves, and he has been a big weapon for them, along with Sean Murphy since then, when Murphy, of course, has been healthy, because I know he's dealt with ailments this year. Orlando Arcia is batting 9th, 720 OPS for the shortstop. Arcia, of course, is looking to have a groove, which, again, he's had plenty of success against the Mets. And I'm going to get all your comments here in a second, folks, but continue to let me know if it's a yay or a nay for you in regards to the Mets lineup today as they're matching up here against the Atlanta Braves. Let me know in the chat, guys. And again, happy to have you all in here. Let's see. I saw you at the Hamilton while I worked there. John, are you serious? John, that's hilarious, John, I kid you not. You have a coworker you have a coworker at that Wawa that I can promise you, like, I'm buddies with, because he's a big Mets fan. Every time I go in, I dap him up and we talk shop because he watches me. But I know that's not you, John. That's the funny thing. I'm forgetting on the gentleman's name. Oh, I feel like such a schmuck right now. But that's actually hilarious. That's not even the guy that, I would think of when I think of that Wawa. There's one guy at that Wawa that I've interacted with plenty that's a big Mets fan. Has a mustache, blanking on, I think maybe his name's David. Could be wrong. But that name's sticking out right now. Either way, let's take a look at the Mets lineup tonight, folks, as follows. Brandon Nimmo, who continues to be one of the best outfielders in all Major League Baseball. The amount of schmucks that had the audacity to say, Wardy, why would you have Brandon Nimmo as the top left fielder in all Major League Baseball this season? And I said it's because of reasons like this. I had him on my Bleacher Report ranking, heading into the season. I got a lot of flack for Nimmo, especially. Same way I got flack for Zach Wheeler being the best starter in all of baseball this year, when right now he's very much in that echelon of doing exactly that. Brandon Nimmo, look at the Baseball Savant numbers. Look at what he's done over this past week. He has been a slugging machine. The man cannot stop raking. And on top of that, when Brandon isn't hitting for power, he's getting on base with the walks. He's getting on base with the hit-by pitches. He's always finding a way to put himself first and win those opposing matchups against those pitchers. Brandon Nimmo continues to defy the odds as not only a tremendous leadoff hitter, a guy that we know is pointing up to Christ every single time he gets the first on a walk or a hit by pitch, always a smile on his face, but just always playing tremendous hard-nosed baseball, and he never says die. Love me some Brandon Nimmo. Fantastic run he's had over the past couple weeks now, but just the power looks amazing. His defensive range has certainly been there when playing left or center at sometimes, and the base running too has been sharp. Lots to love there with Brandon Nimmo so far this season. You got cheats out here. We got cheats too. I'm fortunate. I got cheats. I got rudders. I got Wawa. I got everything, at my fingertips. So I don't got to pick and choose the way that we have people battle so hard with Wawa and cheats. When the simple terms is, if you want a sandwich, if you want hoagies, you go to Wawa every day of the week. Sheetz is pond scum comparing between the two. But when you want appetizers, when you want Mac bites, when you want boneless chicken bites with Dr. Pepper barbecue sauce because it is absolutely delicious, you go to Sheetz. I digress. We advance further here as we break down the line. Brandon Nimmo with a 789 OPS on the season. Starling Marte, 709 OPS. Marte, of course, had a nice game his last time out there, if I'm not mistaken, against St. Louis. Francisco Lindor still trying to touch a 700 OPS on the season, still at 670 for the shortstop. Pete Alonso, 742, batting fourth. JD Martinez looking for his first home run as a Met. My gut tells me that might just happen this series. 701 OPS there for the veteran DH. Batting sixth is Jeff McNeil. McNeil, of course, had a poker night yesterday with Hank Azaria at Citi Field and Brian Cranston. And yes, you heard that correctly. McNeil with a 644 OPS for the second baseman. Harrison Bader, 654 OPS in the starting lineup, which I know he's happy about because he's been very vocal and saying when he isn't happy when he's not starting. In case you're wondering what I'm referring to, there's a recent piece that came out from the New York Post discussing Harrison Bader and how, like any other player, they're not happy when they're not playing, but they understand why they're not playing because of the depth on the roster, understanding pitching matchups and everything in between. Brett Beatty batting eighth tonight with a 677 OPS. Beatty's had success against the Braves throughout his career. Hopefully that continues tonight. And Tomas Nido, who continues to impress me with his catching ability and also with the offense every now and then. 593 OPS for the catcher in relief there, of course. Yes, Francisco Alvarez still ways away back from his thumb injury. Things are trending in the right direction, but is still going to be out for a little bit, to say the least. Everybody as well, for my sports bettors, before we get on to the parlays and stuff, make sure you take a look at what we got here for the Mets and for Atlanta tonight. And of course, my schmucks. Okay, never mind. I thought I was wrong. I'm right. Mets are currently the money line underdog tonight at plus 130, barring changes because the lines always change, fluctuate a little bit there with every sports book, including BetUS. But I'll just tell you right now, everybody, even though that we're diehard Mets fans, if you are hammering Mets money line, you're hammering that at your own risk tonight. As we get into my picks of the night, I do not have the Mets, even though, of course, I would love to be biased. I can't beat it every time, and I certainly cannot beat it when I do not have faith in Jose Quintana the way that I would have a little bit more faith even in Charlie Morton. And as we take a look now at the pitching matchups between the both sides, again, the Mets are a plus 130 underdog money line, which means them to win outright. If you put down $130, if you put down $100, you're going to win an additional 130 should the Mets win outright tonight. Braves are the favorite at minus 145, which means you need to deposit $145 to win $100 if the Braves win. run line there, which means that the Mets not either need to lose or make sure that they don't. The Mets need to win or make sure that they don't lose by any more than 1.5 runs. That's at minus 135 and plus 115 odds, which of course are solid odds there for the Braves to not only win, but make sure that they win by at least 1.5 runs. So that's the latest there on the lines, everybody. But as we take a look at Jose Quintana versus Charlie Morton, I mean, I don't think that there's too much that needs to be said here. Charlie Morton, I will say this, everybody, and also apologies. I realize that the ticker that I have showing down below is very outdated, so I'm just going to minimize that for the time being. I didn't have the updated scores there for you. But what we know is that Charlie Morton, the last time he faced the Mets, went right around 5 innings, allowed 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, if not 5. I'm actually going to double check right now because I threw out a tweet earlier. Shout out to one of my awesome editors, Joe. You can check him out at Vision of Joe for the graphic that I'm posting over the next couple of days of pitching matchups. As we see here for Jose Quintana versus Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton's last start against the Mets earlier this year in Atlanta, earlier in April, 5.2 innings of 5 hit, 4 earned run ball, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts. His career ERA against the Mets, however, for the 40-year-old is at 3.71. Jose Quintana, when he faced the Braves earlier this season, went 5.1 innings, a 5 hit, 3 earned run ball, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts for Jose, who has a 6.55 career ERA against the Atlanta Braves. Between the inconsistency with Jose Quintana, the walk rate fluctuating quite a bit this season, higher than we normally want it to. And with this Braves team, of course, being the Braves, I'm going to go on a limb and say I expect Charlie Morton to be the better starter between the two tonight, but I don't foresee either to be completely dominant. I think that this series as a whole is going to be pretty tight, with the only true potential of the doors being blown open with, again, the walk rates with Quintana, with Severino on Sunday, and Christian Scott tomorrow. I have a big amount of excitement with Scott, but I think my level of concern, if anything, goes in hand with just Scott's ability to pound the zone as heavy as he does. The Braves are a very swing-happy team, and they're going to swing high and far and go gap to gap. I could see Christian Scott, of course, pounding the zone early and dealing with an early deficit the way he did during his time in Tampa. But the question is, how does he rebound from there? Will he be able to bounce back and compose himself right away the way he did against the Rays? Or no, because this is an Atlanta Braves team that is far and away a better team than the Tampa Bay Rays can ever be this season. You know, it's a good question we ask ourselves, but overall, this Mets team, I think, very much so can go toe-to-toe here with, yes, the Atlanta Braves. But Jose Quintana, Charlie Morton, again, Charlie isn't the best thing since sliced bread, and thankfully the Mets avoid Chris Sale in this series, which is a massive one, because if Sale was pitching, I'm almost viewing that as an automatic loss of the way this Mets team handles pitching like Chris Sale, especially. Sale, for those that don't know, went 6 shutty with 10 strikeouts against his former team in the Boston Red Sox just a couple days ago. But the Mets, who now have not played a game in 48 hours, a fully rested and healthy bullpen, are going to be throwing out a boatload of relievers. You're going to see a shit ton, pardon my French, of Reed Garrett in this series. You're going to potentially see, maybe Cole Sulzer if he's called up again if need be. If not, you, of course, are going to see plenty of there in Edwin Diaz. Hopefully the Mets need him twice out of this 3-game series. That'd be awesome. That is probably a good thing more often than not there. Adam Ottavino has now had multiple days rest, which is important. Jorge Lopez, who's had more relief outings than any other reliever in at minimum the National League, he's looked sharp. Mets have a lot of weapons that they've utilized well to this point out of their bullpen, and they're going to be heavily relying on them again in a series where it would not shock me in the slightest if no Mets starter out of this 3-game stretch goes beyond 5 innings, because that's just the reality you face when you, of course, are matching up with a team like the Atlanta Braves. You just don't know what's going to happen. This easily could be a series where the Braves win 2 out of 3, or this could easily be a series where the Mets win 2 out of 3, because, again, it's a dark, gloomy series there at Citi Field, and for the Mets to have the series that they did in Atlanta when the weather was nicer for the most part, I'm curious how it'll be if things, again, are dark or gloomy this whole time at Citi Field. While the Mets normally don't hit well with shitty weather, they also are familiar with the weather, unlike some other teams as well. The Atlanta team that is used to rain, but used to humidity along with it and be nice, warm, and sticky as they're playing, not the same there in a cold, dark, gloomy Citi Field on a night like tonight, where the Mets are repping, for the first time this season, their black uniforms. And yes, their black jerseys are not as pretty as they used to be, in my humble opinion. They have completely gone away with the white piping, the white part of all the black Mets jerseys, and the font and the text, the lettering on the hat, it's all gone. It is just black for the base of the jersey. Then you have an orange outline, and the font itself is colored blue. That is all you have. It is very bland. It's unfortunate. It is easily the worst black jersey the Mets have had in their rotation of black jerseys since they started them again in 2021. The 2021 was the best one, and they have honestly fell apart since then. Pardon me, if it's 2021 is when they unveiled them. 2022, they had some alterations, and they didn't look as good, but not terrible. And now they are just the worst out of all of them currently, in my humble opinion. But the black jerseys will be repped tonight. I'm excited to see them wear those jerseys because, one, they'll probably still look better on the field, and two, the black jerseys, I'm a sucker for black jerseys. It really doesn't matter what team it is. The Red City Connect, love them, black jerseys. Colorado Rocky jerseys, for the most part, love them, black jerseys. If you have an alternate that's black, I'm more than likely going to like it just because I love those kind of design. I think black as a color, when you wear it as an opponent, can come off very menacing too, and especially when you have the fans on your side, or even though the Mets don't theme this much aside from just wearing black jerseys while fans wear black jerseys, doing a blackout night is a very cool thing to do. Just little stuff like that. Wardy, can we get Baby Wardy to call a game at some point, Eric, down the line? We're not there yet, but at some point Baby Wardy will be unveiled and you guys will get to be interactive with them, and that'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that, very much so. Need Max 6-pitch innings tonight. Need Max, killing me, Eric. This is what happens when you have the out-of-date emojis the way that I have them. They're going to be used and abused by members like yourself. Oh, that's actually killing me. And I can't get over John McKenna in the chat as well, too. That's so funny regarding that Wawa. Because, again, he's not... I literally made a friend with someone at that Wawa that isn't him. As long as I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, then John, that is you. But I'm pretty sure the guy's name isn't John, the one I was thinking of. Brooks really updated SNY Twitter, not close to throwing, going to see another doctor. Anthony was just, if that was just tweeted out, thank you for relaying the message. Okay, we have it right here. That is true. Yep. Brooks Raley is going to see another doctor. The concern all along, and this initially came out over the past week and a half from Joel Sherman of the New York Post, basically said the Mets were initially fearing like a season-ending injury for him because he had some type of mass or something loose there in his left elbow. But then Carlos Mendoza put cold water in that for a little bit. But now Brooks Raley is, and I quote, not close to begin throwing again, and he will visit another doctor later this week as he continues to deal with elbow inflammation, Mets manager Carlos Mendoza says tonight pregame. And I quote, we want to make sure we aren't missing anything before we take the next step, so we won't throw until we get more clarification on it, the first-year skipper said. All right, so we'll find out what happens with Raley. Drew Smith, however, who is eligible to return from the injured list, will make another rehab appearance on Saturday afternoon down in AAA. So Drew Smith is inching closer and closer to return to this Mets bullpen, which is hopefully a good thing and not a bad thing. In the case of Brooks Raley, who has been absolute nails in this Mets bullpen since he was acquired by the Tampa Bay Rays a year and a half ago from Billy Epler, he has just been absolute nails as a lefty option in this pen. Sucks to lose him, especially because I do not like Jake Diekman over Brooks Raley whatsoever. Diekman can't command his zone consistently to save his life right now. He's still a walk scorer every other time out there, it feels like. But all in all, I know that this Mets bullpen will be okay because of the construction that we have, thanks to David Stern. So we talked about everything that you guys and gals need to know from both these lineups tonight. Get my key takeaways for the Braves here for Atlanta, okay? The guys I'm watching the most, obviously Ronald Acuna Jr. has a flair for their dramatic. Austin Riley's had so much success against the Mets. Matt Olson will break out, even if it is not tonight. I assure you he will have one big game. Marcell Ozuna is a schmuck. I despise him. That means he's going to ball out. Adam Duvall can very much fluctuate heavily. This could be a big strikeout night for him, or he could barrel Quintana hard if Quintana freaking throws a hanging slider right down the dick. Michael Harris II, he's the speedster. He's a weapon. He's fluctuated a bit with his offensive game, but we know Michael Harris is a threat. This entire lineup is a threat. But if you had to narrow down three batters in particular that I'm keeping a very close eye on in this one, is absolutely Travis d'Arnaud, 1,000%, Marcell Ozuna, of course, and honestly, Ronald Acuna Jr., just because of how much of a threat he is on the base pass. Even if Ronald isn't raking this series or tonight, you know he's going to do damage as soon as he gets to first base, because he's sure as shit 9 out of 10 times out of the week is going to steal second base, and then he may steal third. That is where losing to Francisco Alvarez definitely hurts this team, because his arm is on another level, usually than what you see with Nido or Narvaez, especially throwing to third. I have a lot of confidence in Alvarez in that short range. I don't have that confidence to the same degree Juanito, and I sure as shit do not have it with someone like Omar Narvaez. So everybody, for the Mets tonight, it's going to be vital. Let's put Miguel in the bullpen when he comes back. It's possible. We'll see what happens on that front. But for the Mets here, what stands out to me, what I'm looking for, Brandon Nimmo continue to be the brave killer. Brandon Nimmo had a fantastic series against Atlanta last time around, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully that continues. Starling Marte was absolutely going gap to gap at times. Francisco Lindor is back in his normal rhythm now, which is awesome to see. Pete Alonso, we just need Pete to actually be functional. I'm not really banking on Pete a lot this series. He needs to prove me wrong. I know that he finally broke out there against the Cardinals, but it's the effing Cardinals. I mean, that's a very low bar. Let's be real there. Pete, I need him to prove it. JD Martinez, I have heavy eyes on him because this is a series where we could really utilize a JD Martinez to be an X factor and really winning games. JD Martinez has really put the ball in play every time out there. He's had a couple hits. He's had a couple doubles. He's had a couple RBIs, but he has yet to hit the ball out of the park, 1, and 2, he has yet to really showcase himself as a lethal threat there in that DH position. So JD Martinez, I have close eye on in this one. I also have a level of eye on Brett Baty because I know the success he's had to an extent when Morden in the Braves in the past. And yeah, if I had to narrow them down, Brandon Nimmo, JD Martinez, Brett Baty are all guys I have a close eye on tonight in particular. And Harrison Bader, again, he's always glamoring for playing time. Make sure you can ball out the way that Bader. I know you had some success against Atlanta in that series, but let's just make sure we don't round first and going to second, legging a single into a double when it was always a single. And that's what I'll say about that one. So everything that you need to know there from both sides. Final update that I will share with you all, though. How's it going, Jacob? Because someone mentioned in the chat. It's absolutely true. Yes, Luis Guillorme was traded. Remember when Luis Guillorme pitched against the Mets and Tyrone Taylor hit a grand slam off of him a month ago? Well, that same Luis Guillorme has now been dealt to the LA Angels, and in return now, as the transaction, they got to fill out that utility infielder for the time being. Zach Short. Remember the diehard Met fan Zach Short that started the year on the Mets roster? Well, he's activated with the Braves, and he is going to be in the bench for them, on the bench, I should say, for the Braves tonight. So Zach Short, don't be shocked if you see him either as a defensive late game replacement or getting a pinch hitting role, which Braves fans, I wish you luck in advance, should that happen at any point in this series. But that's the latest updates on all that, folks. Now I'm beyond excited to get into my picks and parlay of the day, folks, because when I tell you I've been on a heater, I do not say this lightly, everybody. I ride high when my teams do well. I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I'm a diehard New York Rangers fan. Put 2 and 2 together. I have been putting a lot of bets on them lately, and things have continued to go good for a Rangers team currently 7-0 in playoffs, and the Knicks currently 2-0 up here heading into Game 3 tonight against the Indiana Pacers, now without OG Anunoby. So I would actually like to start the discussion here when I look at the picks tonight with the NBA slate here briefly, because again, guys, I'm not fronting. I've had a ridiculous amount of success lately, probably more than it's even deserved on my end lately, but I've just been making all the right calls. Dallas Mavericks too. Imagine not hammering the Dallas Mavericks money line or spread yesterday at +5. Absolutely silly. Luka Doncic, imagine going up against him right now. But we take a look at my picks here. This is the one that is separate from my parlay, and this is specifically for my Knicks fans and just for my NBA bettors that, of course, make sure you bet responsibly with our great friends at BetUS. Make sure you sign up by clicking the links down below today, folks. That way you too can sign up with a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits for all your sports betting needs. And BetUS, who comes at you with the best lines imaginable out there right now. Knicks spread or money line, again, proceed with caution. OG Anunoby, the Knicks' best defender. He had a roughly 30-piece the last game in Game 2. Without him, that is another massive weapon lost, and they're going to be heavily relying on Jalen Brunson, who doesn't even have a healthy right foot at the moment. JB's going to ball out. We know that. But how will the calls be here in Game 3 in Indiana is a key takeaway for this one. So the Knicks right now at +7, which means the Knicks either need to win or make sure that they do not lose by more than 7 points tonight, or the underdog at +250, everybody. That means if you deposit $100 and the Knicks win, you win an additional $250, okay? The odds are very much against the Knicks tonight without OG Anunoby, but let's not forget how good this Knicks team is with their depth and with the next man up mentality. With Precious Achiuwa getting more starting time, more playing time, I honestly don't hate that to begin with, but you got to make sure you can get down on the corner 3, which the Pacers have absolutely nailed, especially with their past game. Slow down Obi, who's been balling out. Tyrese does his thing that we know, but as long as the Knicks play their game, I promise you, even if the Knicks lose this game, It will not be a blowout. Feel very confident. I'm knocking on wood for saying that. So again, proceed with caution, everybody. But if you're going to bet tonight on basketball, the Knicks at +7, you're salivating at the mouth. It would be a silly thing to not at minimum consider, even with OG Anunoby out of the lineup. And if you want to really be ballsy, if you love your Knicks, and if you're really feeling you're going to be biased with your picks, then say, hey, hammer the money line. But again, go at your own risk. I personally would suggest if you hammer the money line, don't do anything too heavy. Of course, just sling some bucks on there, but make sure you're focusing on the live betting odds, which you can do on the BetUS BetUS website by clicking the link down below. When you sign up, they have live betting odds for you throughout the game. So for instance, did you hammer the Knicks at +240 a couple nights ago when they were down 10 points at the half with Jalen Brunson in the locker room? I hope you did the way that I did, because you're coming out like a bandit with your winnings. So that's what I have there for the Knicks tonight. Big game 3 against the Pacers, everybody. And now as we take a look at my picks and parlay of the night here baseball wise, what's up, Priest? How you doing? We're breaking down 3 games I absolutely love. And again, if it doesn't hit, it's not for a lack of effort. It's not because the matchup didn't make sense, because all these make a lot of sense. Twins money line tonight against the Blue Jays. Love the pitching matchup in favor there of the Twins tonight there. I'm pretty sure they either have Ober or Ryan pitching. Let me double check here against Yusei Kikuchi for the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have been through a lot of ups and downs already early on this season, and the Twins have been on an absolute heater lately. Yep, Ryan's pitching 3.54 ERA. Yusei Kikuchi 2.72. He's actually been pitching better than initially expected for Kikuchi, but I absolutely love the heater the Twins have been on lately. I like Ryan quite a bit. I like this pitching matchup, and they're currently at even odds right now against the Blue Jays, which means that they are also the underdog ever so slightly. So if you hammer the spread right now at +1.5, of course the odds aren't as good there than even odds, but what that means is if the Twins say win or lose by no more than 1.5 runs, you win on the run line. So I'm hammering money line. I think the Twins win outright tonight. They're part of my 3-pick parlay, and this 3-pick parlay is 10 to win 45. So basically that means is if you deposit $100 on this 3-pick parlay, which I don't recommend, again, because it's a very tricky thing to do with parlays beyond 2 legs, honestly, but do whatever you want. If you put 100 down and all 3 of these games win, where these teams I pick won, you come out with $450. Not bad. Phillies money line, of course, they are -186 at the time of doing the graphic here. The odds may have slightly changed since then against the Miami Marlins. You're in Miami, but I'm sorry. You got Ranger Suarez on the bump, who's been absolute nails so far this season against the Miami Marlins, the same team that their GM Peter Bendick said their season's basically already over, hammering Phillies. Baltimore Orioles, this is an exciting matchup tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Love both these teams. Diamondbacks are starting to get that right foot forward. You got Pfaadt on the bump tonight, who I honestly still do not love what we can get from him so far this season, versus a Cole Irvin, who's looked very good for the Baltimore Orioles so far this year. I'm taking the O's with this slight favoritism here, and knowing that this O's team is oh so talented with all their weapons, headlined by, of course, Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman and all the other great pieces that they have there. Currently at 126 odds against the Diamondbacks, -126, I should say. So I have a 3-pick parlay there. Again, that's 10 to win 45. To anyone that tailed this, I wish you all the best of luck. To anyone that just picked one of the 3 or 4 picks I have presented, good luck with all of them. And if you didn't pick any of them, that's perfectly fine too, everybody. I would love to hear your thoughts in the chat too for my fellow sports bettors that have worked, that not have worked, but have bet with BetUS in the past with our pregame segments that we broken down. The last pregame show we did on the channel, everybody, we went 4 for 4 in our MLB 4-pick parlay. Very exciting. And the last couple days in individual game picks, we went 2 out of 3 on our individual game picks when breaking them down in our post-game segment. And we will take a look in tonight's post-game segment how we did with these lines, as long as all the games are done by them or close to, and we have an idea who's going to win. Hopefully, again, we go 3 for 3, even 4 for 4 if you hammer the next spread or money line. Either way, big slate of games tonight that I'm very excited in. Wardy, is Green most confident bets? Yes, Jacob, that is correct. Green is most confident. I have a heavy amount of confidence tonight in all those 3 games. And again, if they don't win, that's baseball. Baseball's a coin flip a lot of the times. Same way that the Mets are +130 tonight. But of course I want them to win, and the Mets very well can win tonight. The odds just aren't in their favor. So in tonight, I really like the Twins, Phillies, Orioles. And when looking at NBA basketball, I'm a diehard Knicks fan, so I bet biasly with that. But I feel like I know this Knicks team better than any other evaluator that isn't a Knicks fan. And that slight bias does make a difference when you know the type of culture and core that they built now with the Nova boys, with Thibodeau, never saying die, running them out there until the very last second. Those are the difference for a Knicks team that has a motor to them that they've been running all year long, while a lot of these other teams currently in playoffs went a lot of games on cruise control during the regular season, like the 76ers, and had a fat reality check when you were facing a Knicks team without Bojan Bogdanovic now, without Mitchell Robinson now, without Julius Randle now, without OG Anunoby now, which is absolutely ridiculous. Those four, and you can rightfully argue this Knicks team, how are they not going to the championship, or how are they not at least going toe-to-toe with a Celtics team that got curb stomped by the Cavs yesterday, which just shows the kind of frauds that any team can be once they head into postseason play. A lot of things can change. But the culture, the depth, it's all there with this Knicks team. That goes in hand with my reasoning. And if they lose tonight, I expect the Knicks to lose one game in Indiana. It might be tonight, it might be game 4, but either way, it's so hard to not hammer these juicy numbers the way that they're currently presented. Is it that new? What happened, Priest? What happened in the chat? Who's pitching for the Mets tomorrow is going to be Kristen Scott. Tonight, it is Mr. Jose Quintana versus Charlie Morton. Wardy, you think Hart is better than Starks? I don't like to do the comparison game, especially because I didn't grow up appreciating Starks the way that I've grown up appreciating Josh Hart with my young fandom. So, yeah, I really don't like to do that. I just say appreciate them for what they are. Yes, I can understand if you see some similarities, but all in all, just appreciate this Knicks group for what they are, for my Knicks fans that care, obviously. Mets win tonight. The spread is too high. The spread is high. That's true, Jesse. Hopefully they do win. But again, naturally, as a sports bettor, I'm slightly reluctant. I honestly might parlay the Knicks spread and the Mets just because why not tonight? Just for fun. Throw a couple bucks on and see what happens. And that's the kind of luck I've been having lately, so we'll see. And when I mean luck, I mean doing that couple bucks and it panning out. Things going great. Reggie Miller bobblehead tonight said absolutely nobody. Is that... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Damn, where you took my parlay. See, Daniel, great minds think alike. Love to see that. But here's the question. Reggie Miller bobblehead night. Is that actually the case at Pacers game tonight? That's insane if that's true. That's insane. Any Denver parlay tonight? Denver, of course. Yep. Love those Nuggets. That's not a bad play at all. Not a bad play at all. All right, everybody. But as we hop back in this one, because we broke down everything that you need to know on our picks and our parlays. Again, thank you all so much for chiming in for that. We are going to be wrapping up the show, folks, in the next 5 to 10 minutes, everybody. So in the meantime, I would love to answer whatever comments, questions, or concerns you got for me, all relating to the Mets and this Braves key matchup starting tonight as well, everybody. And again, happy to have you all in here. If you haven't already, make sure to smash the like and subscribe button. Greatly appreciate it. Easiest and best way to support the channel as well. Appreciate everyone that has donated as well. It's a great way to support too, but it's never asked, always appreciated. And thank you again all so much for being in here as we're breaking down the latest in Mets land. What's the forecast for the game? Right now it should be good. So hopefully there shouldn't be, if there is a rain delay, hopefully it's not long. But I think this game's going to get played fairly easily tonight. But we'll see, barring any changes. How mad was Max really? He was mad sometimes, for sure. He was literally, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. Max, very animated on days he pitches. When he doesn't pitch, he's like any other Joe Schmo in the clubhouse and in the dugout. Great guy when he's not pitching. Just don't talk to him when he's pitching. That's pretty much it. Love you too, Mumor. I'm happy to have you in here. What happens if you bet on a game that gets rained out? If you bet on a game that gets rained out, it depends on the sports book. You're either going to be just credited your money back that you can then utilize for a different bet, or it may vary. Again, it does vary sometimes in sports books. But if it's a rain out game and no team wins, then you should be getting your money back or should be credited. I can't speak for people outside of BetUS, however, though. Why didn't they cancel this on cold night? Because it's Friday night. People, even though that I don't expect a crazy amount to show up tonight, people will still show up plenty tonight. And the less doubleheaders, the better. I think that's the most ideal thing, right? Rick earlier in the chat says, if we are above 500 at the traded line, who do you like to see in the Mets uniform? Too early to get there, Ricky. Honestly, just too early to get there. I can't give you an answer for that right now. We're not going to begin really that trade talk and all that kind of stuff until we get into June. June's really the earliest is when we start to tap into that. So still a month plus away, I'd say. What about the Knicks? Oh, we were just talking about the Knicks, D. If you're just chiming in, trust me, I love my Knicks tonight. Even at +7, love them. Love them. Because again, the Knicks do not need to win for the +7 to hit. They just need to make sure that they don't lose by more than 7 points. That's a task I think the Knicks can very much handle tonight. And again, if none of these hits, then all this shows is that when you're riding high on a heater, you got to keep it to yourself. Because I literally sent my brother picks that I liked today prior as well, because I've been on a heater the past week. Literally since the Knicks won Game 6 against the Sixers. I was at that game. I had a 5-pick parlay, and everything hit. I put 15 down, and I won 200. We haven't slowed down since. It's just been an absolute heater every single day with our picks for the most part. I've only lost, out of my last 10 picks of betting, I've only lost two. One was $5 on the Celtics at like plus 900 because I was like, if there's one team that could come back in the fourth, it's Boston. That's why I only threw $5 because the odds were just ridiculous. Then the other one was three-pick parlay yesterday of the Yankees. I had the Kansas City Royals, and I had one other team that I'm blanking. The Yanks lost by a run. The Royals were winning last time I checked, and the third team won too. I'm just blanking on what team that was already. But we've been doing really good. And Knicks stuff, everything Knicks related, I've been absolutely hammering. Like, unbelievable. It honestly, at times like this, it almost feels like you're cheating. If you're like a true Knicks fan and you know how they operate and you know very well how they're going to come back in a game, or you know how they're going to battle and respond, that the sports books for some reason just don't understand yet, or it takes them too long. Because if you guys live bet as well, final thing I'll say on this, and then we'll get on to wrapping up. How do I want to subscribe? I need some help doing it. Frank, if you would like to subscribe to the channel, my friend, all you have to do is, if you're watching this mobile on your phone, just go to my main YouTube channel. When you click the actual channel, it should give you a subscribe button option to hit that. If you do, make sure the notification bell is on as well, so that way you can follow along and make sure you're notified every time that I go live or post a pre-recorded video. If you're on your desktop, the same applies. Go to my YouTube channel, and you will see a button right there smack dab that says subscribe. Let's see. You guys shouldn't lose at the Fieldhouse. Your starters may be down, but you got powerful weapons on that. Oh, we do, Chris. And Deuce McBride, again, love me some Deuce. Love me some Precious. I am not counting the Knicks out at all tonight. Even if they lose, it will not be for a lack of effort. Wardy, y'all Knicks will sweep the Pacers. That's facts. I'm knocking on wood. I don't foresee that happening at all. But if it does, I will be a very happy camper, both financially and just as a Knicks fan. I'll be very happy. So not getting my hopes up there, but wishing you all the best of luck to everybody that bets tonight. Best of luck to our Metsies tonight. Game 1 of a 3-game set against the Atlanta Braves. We will be back live tonight again right after the conclusion. Win, lose, or draw. Be on the lookout for that one, everybody. And we will be live tomorrow as I exit Citi Field, hopefully after a Christian Scott dominant performance in a Game 2 victory at Citi Field against the Braves. So everybody, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all later tonight. Until then, have a great rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. And this is your boy Wardy signing out. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace.